It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the last hour in one sentence.
If you don't watch the whole thing, watch just, it's not easy, but it's worth it.
So I'm Paul DiRienzo. This is my friend Chris Thompson. Chris is going to reintroduce himself.
Chris Thompson from Rhode Island, just trained fitness and martial arts, owner, operator, instructor there.
How long have you been training martial arts?
On and well, I mean, dedicated since like 95, 96.
Yeah, so you're right.
And I started, of course, in Taekwondo in Rhode Island. But as a kid...
Doesn't make you a bad person.
No, I know. It's just what happens in that area. But on and off, as a kid, at like the Boys and Girls Club, my older brother Ronnie, I know he did train, but he used to beat the shit out of me with martial arts. And I would mimic it. And I would mimic it. And... I don't know, I always kind of had a knack for it. I was not an athlete. I was very insecure, very shy when I was a kid. And then very late in life, I got into wrestling in high school, and I was pretty good at it right off the bat. And then somebody came into an animal hospital I was working at with a hat on for this place that was right across the street, and we were talking. She's like, you should go over there. So I did, and that was the beginning of it.
That was the start of it?
Yeah.
And this is my friend Jeff Berger.
I'm in Salem, Mass. Do a bunch of different arts, Muay Thai, stuff like that. Kids program is called Kick Karate Inspire City Kids. It's a 501c3.
Cool. And you started?
Oh man, I mean.
Not 95.
Yeah, no, I mean, my first karate lesson was kindergarten, spit in his face, kick him in the balls, left, right, as fast.
Well, there's that.
There's that.
Yeah, I mean,
classes, I started when I was 13, so I'm 56 now. I don't want to do that math, but so that's 40 something years.
Yeah, 43 years ago.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do a lot of different arts, you know. When I say martial arts are like Pokemon, you got to catch them all.
And the line, I'm going to have to repeat it again because it's just really fucking funny to me.
Set the tone.
Yeah, to set the tone. When you get a collective group of old martial artists, Chris turns to Jeff and goes, which side do you need to sit on? Which is the better hip? You can't get people with like 25, 27, 40 years of training.
They don't even think of that.
What do you mean which hip? Which is the good hip? Which, now they're both good hips.
Now they're both good.
Yeah.
We can repair him. We can make him better. So we meet once in a while and we talk shop and trade jokes and stories and a good group you need peers, right? Rory always said that you need peers who you can bounce stuff off of and will call you on your bullshit. And that's I think a very vital reason that I like to gather with you guys. And we thought we'd record some stuff and ask some general questions and just kind of let it roll naturally from there.
Yep.
First one is, the reason you started is never the reason you continue doing something after a certain period of time. That could be 6 months, that could be 6 years, it could be 16 years, whatever the number is. Sounds like older brother inspired you, so I'll let you go first there.
I don't know, let's call it inspiring. It was more like surviving.
Survival, yeah.
My brother was I hate to use the word renowned, but if you have ever seen the movie Outsiders, Two Youngins, that's kind of what was going on when I was a kid. I remember riding my bike to my elementary school, and it was literally like a scene from the movie Outsiders where they were all just there, and they had various implements of destruction. And me and my friend pedaled our bike over there, like, hey, what's going on, guys? And he was like, you may want to get out of here. And I was like, all right. And then come to find out, there were some kids from a town adjacent in Johnson that were coming over to literally rumble. And they had bats and all kinds of shit.
Warriors.
Yeah, it was literally like that. So, but my brother Ronnie is now, and even then, was a very small stature.
Yep.
But he was like a wild animal. And these two, my other friends' cousins, Johnny and Louie, were like, they would have been like a tag team in a WWF or whatever it is now. They were both massive, big, round, heavy dudes. And they would always tell me like my brother was just a ferocious fighter.
Crazy person.
Yeah. And you'd have to kill him to stop him is kind of how they described him. And it wasn't like he was violent or anything. It's just, it wasn't like they were running around going crazy just beating people up. It's just, that's kind of what would happen back then. And which is why you see that in movies, because they were emulating, I think, what was going on.
It's not far off real life.
And I don't know. That was just always just a thing. I mean, he would do that. I mean, he didn't beat the shit out of me, but when we were older brothers and whatnot, I would see it and emulate it.
They're helping you learn.
And I had some exposure to. I'm great at mimicking.
Yep.
I'm great at mimicking.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't know I was athletic until high school, and I had played hockey. And my father died when I was very young. I was very sheltered, and my mom was like, "Wow, I'm screwing this kid up. So let's get him out there." And her solution to that was like, let's take him to an ice rink and not tell them what the hell's happening. And next thing you know, I got like hockey equipment going on, man. They're like, boom, get on the ice. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. So next thing you know, I'm sliding around an ice rink, and that's how my mom tried to get me, exposed to more of my peers and sports. And even then, I was like, I did really good. But then when we got to high school, I had another growth spurt for whatever reason late, and equipment didn't fit. We didn't have a lot of money. My friend Jay, who was the one that pedaled with me up to the massacre.
Sekigahara.
My brother and his friends did very well that day. He said, come to wrestling practice, and I went to wrestling practice, and just
stuck.
It just worked. I went to I think JV States my first year, and I did really good. So I was like, this is great. And then I kind of went crazy for a while. In my 20s, or early whatever, right out of high school, I just went kind of partying a lot, doing a lot of crazy shit, and then I started working in the veterinary field. That was the first thing that saved my life, because couldn't show up to a veterinary job hungover, wasted, hurting in some way, jonesing, whatever you want to call it, because if you miss a decimal point, you do some math wrong, you're gonna kill something.
Yeah.
So that kind of got me looking in the right direction, and then when I started training martial arts at that place. And I still give a shout out to Mario Manella, my first real instructor, who I just talked to recently. He must have seen something, because I was working 2 jobs, I moved out immediately at like 18, 19 years old, he I remember. When you recount a story and you're wondering if it's a freaking imagination, if it really happened. I fucking hate that because now it's on tape. But anyway. What happened was, I remember we were doing a line drill, and we were in line with this person facing us, and he had to do a kick. And he said, do a kick, and I did the kick. He's like, what the hell? Took me to another line, do this kick, and I was doing all the kicks. Yep. You know what I mean?
This is the first attack.
This is the first, like when I just first started training. I don't know if you saw something, because I know now, being me, when I see that, I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean? That kid's got some talent, whatever. So I think that's, in hindsight, what he did with me. Yeah. And, I told him, I came in one day, I was like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't afford it anymore. And he was like, nope, we're going to figure it out. Just vacuum the floors, wipe the mirrors down. He let me do that for a long time. And I did that, and I did pretty good. And I don't know what happened in school. Things got crazy. I got crazy, and I left there. And it took, I went and did Kempo somewhere else. And then I found Sifu Rafi's place.
Okay. That's Rafi Dearden in Rhode Island as well. Yep.
Yeah. And that's where I went in there. Yeah, and he's my Sifu, he's my sensei, whatever you want to call it, no matter what happens. He's my mentor in this. So I remember, I'd done Taekwondo, I'd done Kempo, I thought it was pretty cool. And back then, Sifu Rafi's place, even though it was much nicer than the previous iteration, or the previous version of his school, where Chuck Stone Ave is just a bunch of gorillas, this place was still, it wouldn't exist today, I don't think. His Plainfield Street School, hardwood floors, beautiful. It's still such a beautiful place. Those floors I still remember. But I went in there through an odd turn of events. I had been driving by his school for years.
Really?
And before the internet, again, kids, I would see a Jeet Kune Do thing. And I'm like, bullshit, there's no Jeet Kune Do in Rhode Island, East Coast, West Coast, you know what I mean? I'm like, there's no friggin' way. So then my friend, I talked to this person I was working with at the animal hospital, and again, being very ignorant, she's like, oh, I'm doing JKD. I was like, oh, that's cool, but I don't want to do another Korean martial art. Like TKD, I'm so stupid. And then she did some trapping with me one day, and I was like, wait, what the hell's that? She goes, it's JKD. I'm like, well, wait, what is JKD? She goes, Jeet Kune Do. I was like, oh, come to find out. She goes to that place. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. While that was happening, my roommate was like, oh, I found this new dojo. I'm gonna do Wei Chi. And I'm like, no way. And we go there at the same time. He's freaking there. I'm like, oh shit. So anyway, one of the things smart things Sifu Rafi did is he never let anybody come in and take a class right away. Yeah, and I remember him saying this. He made me sit down and watch class. And when I sat down and watched the class, I'm a fidgeter anyway, as you'll see. My legs will be bouncing, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, because they're just sparring. They're hitting pads and sparring. And I hadn't been to a place that did that. It was either like you kick pads and never use your arms, or you do kata, and that's it. You never really sparred, or even a sparring at the Kempo place I went to, which was a highly renowned Kempo person. We really didn't do any sparring. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, take whatever money I have. I'll count change. I got another job just to do it. And I never left.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll get around to but what about now?
Yeah.
Me?
You.
My first martial art lesson, I was telling you, I got beat up on the bus when I was in kindergarten. Kid's older than me.
Yeah.
So I get my older brother who does karate to, go make justice. You know, like, so he's like, so I
Called
tell
it
him,
a hit.
he goes, yeah, he goes, I'll meet you at the bus stop tomorrow, stuff like that. And on the way home, I'm telling this kid, my brother's gonna be waiting for you. Like, and I'm poking him, right?
no. There's
Get
no
off the
there,
bus,
was
my
there?
brother goes, and you gonna fight him again. I'm like, what, are you stupid? Like, he's bigger than me, you're bigger than him.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Make the justice happen. So I get beat up again. And now we're going home. He goes, well, now we're going to go home. We're going to work on what you're going to do when you fight him again tomorrow. So I'm already crying for tomorrow's ass kicking, right? I'm like, this isn't fair. He's bigger than me. I don't want this fight. And so, like, you know. But he goes, here's what I want you to do. I want you to spit in his face, kick him in the balls, left, right, as fast as you can. Like, if he hits you and it hurts, you just got to go faster. I'm like, well, karate's pretty stupid. I was waiting to learn, like, the Mr. Spock.
Right.
I think, well, I'm going to learn.
The Democ.
Right? So we get there at the bus, I'm crying. The fight hasn't started yet, I'm crying. He goes, you ready? No. Like, why would you think I'm
Clearly.
ready? Like, I
You're
don't
not
want to do
exuding
this. He goes,
readiness.
get some spit in your mouth. Just do this. Just trust me. Just do it. Kid goes down. I'm like, holy shit. But like, he's behind me going, get him. I'm sitting at the, I'm winning the fight, but I'm still crying. Don't you listen? Right? But then on the way home, he takes me to this place. There was this popcorn shrimp I used to like. Gets me that and a Pepsi. I'm like, fighting's pretty cool. Like that, right? All that, and then, but then, you know, just growing up in New York City, you just kind of had to be. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody wanted to be the wimp, and you
Yeah.
couldn't let anybody call you a name or this or that, and you know, just you're going to be in a gang whether you like it or not. How active your gang is
Right.
different, but I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just it was exciting. There was a high to it. You know, you're kind of, you know, like everybody in high school knew my name. You know, because and I was a bad kid. I mean, I wasn't a drug dealer in school. I was the drug dealer in school.
High five.
And then, and then
Don't do drugs, kids.
I'm saying,
2023.
everybody loved me.
and it was one particular karate teacher that turned it around for me, Robert Clary, and it's kind of why we do the Kick nonprofit program now, because at the time I couldn't afford it. I wasn't selling drugs at that time, but you know, it just turned my life around. It was like the first positive, you know, role model in my life, and they did karate and judo, which was cool because that was back in the 80s and you couldn't mix anything.
Yeah.
Like I go to the kung fu school and they're like, no,
We
you
do kung
got to
fu.
do this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And before that, I had done some boxing at Gleason's gym, but that's not like a school. That was just a whole
Training
different.
center, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm there and you know, you're just there. It's a gym. People are working out. I'm like, well, and I asked one of the coaches. I go, how do you learn to box?
Go ahead.
Oh, you want to learn to box? Puts me in the ring with their kid. He's like their Olympic hopeful, and he's like,
Yeah.
you know, 3-4 years older than me. Beats the shit out of me. I don't learn anything. And I'm like, wow, boxing's fucking tough. Right? And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but how do you learn stuff? How do you learn what to do? Oh, okay, you want to learn what to do? Puts me in the ring with the kid again. And I'm asking somebody else, like, you know,
Fodder.
so what do we do? Like, what do you do? This is stupid and stuff like that. I'm like, what am I paying for? So, well, you got a gym membership.
Yep.
You want to learn, you got to pay private lessons. And I'm like, I'm broke. I don't have any money. So I save up some money, and I tell this guy, his name's Jesus, but I'm like, no, we're going to learn to fight from Jesus. He's like, so I got to call him Jesus, right? But anyway, I tell him, I said, I want to do a private lesson. He goes, okay. And I go, we start doing stuff. I go, no, I want to learn how to hold focus mitts. He goes, well, that's not where you start. You know, you got to learn how to start. That's for coaches. I go, yeah, dude, here's my deal. I don't have money for continued private lessons, but I always hear people want somebody to hold mitts for them. Figure, so if I learn how to hold mitts, you know, I'll trade people, hey man, I'll give you 3-5 rounds of mitts, you show me something. And I learned
Smart.
so much that way. And then one of the other coaches, who he had his team of teenagers, 6 guys, he goes, hey, he goes, I'm going to teach you to hold pads for my guys, and I'll coach you some. I'm like, okay, I got double lessons. I got lessons on how to hold pads better and lessons on the boxing stuff. And that was really cool. And that was one of those gyms where like you had, like you either had your bag or you did the locker for the day. And like having a permanent locker was
A big
that
deal.
was
A big
different.
deal. It's not, yeah, sign.
And I come in one day and I'm like, I have a permanent locker.
I
And
made
I
it.
I was just like, I was literally in tears.
I'm
that I
someone.
had a permanent locker. But you know, like I said, I had that one karate teacher who was just a good male role model. And it was a mix of karate and judo, which was cool because we were kind of doing MMA for anybody who was doing MMA. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I'd probably be dead or in jail. And then from there, it's just, you know, doing all kinds of different stuff, and went to China. My first trip on an airplane was to Japan. Right? Never been on an air. I don't know if I'm afraid to fly, but I'm about to find out because I'm going all the way to Japan. You know, but 2 trips to Japan, 7 trips to China, 2 to Thailand, 1 to Philippines.
All to train.
All just to train, and then I fought in the World Championships 16 years ago, whatever year that was, because I was 40, and as soon as the last fight ended, because it's a tournament thing, I'm like, I'm done with this. I quit. And if I hadn't met Rafi, I probably would have quit.
Really?
Yeah, because everybody, I'm teaching at all these like MMA gyms, and it's the worst. One of the things I was glad when, you know, UFC, MMA started, because it's going to kill a bunch of bullshit. But I was also thinking, it's going to kill martial arts styles. You know, you're going to have whatever the hybrid is to come up. And I was telling people years ago, they're like, what do you think it's going to be? I go, it's going to be boxing with leg kicks and wrestling. And that's what it is, right? That's your core. I mean, their conditioning level they're at now is absolutely freak. You know, none of the old UFC competitors would compete with that. But I'm just running into all these, you know, half dozen BJJ gyms and MMA gyms, and it was just this negative attitude. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this. And I remember Rafi had called me, and I remember it was a Wednesday, because this guy calls me, he goes, hi, this is Rafi Dadarian, Dadarian Taekwondo. You know who I am? I'm like, no. Like, is this guy, like, I got this attitude, like, somebody trying to sell me something? Yeah. You know? And he's like, well, you know, he says who he is, and he says, yeah, we have this, you know, camp we do, the NEMAC, stuff like that. We had a Muay Thai guy on, and he can't make it. I wonder if you could do it. I'm like, well, when is it? Like that. He goes, well, you know, here's the deal. It's this weekend. I'm like, you know something? I work every other weekend. I'm off this weekend. I went and did it, and for the first time in maybe 10 years, I met cool, open-minded people. I mean, and people who were busting my chops the first day.
Well, yeah,
so I remember
that's a good sign.
That's the culture.
That's a good sign, man.
I remember it was somebody from Boogler's crew.
Yeah.
I said, I go, what's Mrs. Sifu's name? Oh, that's what we call her. We call her Mrs. Sifu. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, all right. You know, but it was the first time to just come in and do different martial arts and not have all this, you know, who's going to beat up who and this and whatnot. And just, you know, the right, you know, some of these schools, like, yeah, it's all about respect. Yeah, if I can kick your ass, you better respect me because I'll hurt you. And it's like, there were the school, before I opened up my own school, the last school I was at, there were real fights in the gym, out in the parking lot.
Really?
And they were going down this one place in field training, and one guy got killed. He got stabbed 17 times. And it's just like, yeah, what are you doing? And you guys are doing, you know, jiu-jitsu. And you say, oh, it's the best. Okay, I love, not to knock the art, I love Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They tightened up the judo game, great. But you guys are out there field training it, you're 50-50 you're against guys who don't know how to fight. You know, so it's just, it was such a negative atmosphere. My wife didn't want to go there anymore. A couple of my mentors who I was bringing over there to seminars, they didn't want to go over there anymore.
Toxic bullshit.
So toxic. And then, and I just opened up my own place again, you know, so.
Yeah, I remember that day because we ended up talking in the parking lot that day at Rafi's.
Yep.
See for Rafi's in the Crown Plaza, I think it was. Yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, we all met through Rafi, right?
Yeah.
To go and I forget how I got invited down to I think it was a Hawk seminar at his place.
Yeah.
11 or 12 years ago, whatever it was.
Went up on the second floor there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that's where I met you originally. And then I remember specifically, I'm having a conversation with Rafi, and I was like, hey, have you ever heard of this guy named Rory? He goes, oh yeah, I know that guy.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew Rory from Budo Seek.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, he was on there. I still hate blogs. I hate
the posting boards and all this
threads,
stuff.
all this shit. Yeah, the funny ones.
Yep.
I just hate arguing and I hate typing, so it doesn't work out for me. But I remember.
Which is ironic. You're really good at arguing.
I know, but I'll do it in person. I hate typing. It's a waste of time. I'm not going to figure anything out. But I remember just something happened to somebody that we knew. He was an instructor. The guy's daughter got assaulted. What she had learned didn't work. It broke both the father and the daughter. And I remember thinking there's a big gap in a lot of this information. It was just like situational awareness and fight for your life. And I was like, this seems weird. And I'd been seeing other self-defense seminars. I was like, it's just weird. And then meditations came out. I don't even know how I came. Oh, I know how I came across. I got the Little Black Book of Violence first.
Yep.
And I was like, this is what I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
Kane and Wilder.
Yeah. And then that turned into finding meditations. And I was just annoyed the hell out of Sensei Speak. I annoyed the hell out of him. I just kept saying, you gotta read this book. And I'm one of how many people in his freaking life coming up to him going, you gotta read this martial arts book. And I'd been around for a while, and like, it's not like I was new there, but he was just like, yeah. I mean, you guys understand Sensei Speak's demeanor and his sense of humor.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah.
It was like pat you in the head.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. And I kept bothering. I'm like, this is amazing stuff. Rah, 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 rah. And I finished it, and I was like, you want to read it? And he goes, no. And he goes, who? And finally, he was like, who the fuck was this one? I was like, is this guy Rory Miller? Blah, blah, blah. And he's just got this face that I know. I did know at that time, and I know now. The face I kind of make sometimes. And he's like, and you let me talk all the way.
Fox grin.
Strategic pause, let the air fill, and he's like, I know that guy. I'm like, there's no fucking way he knows. There's no way he knows this guy. West Coast, Northwest, all this kind of stuff. He goes, yeah, I know him. He goes, check your email and tell me when you get home. So I go home, and whatever. I look up, and there it is. It's a video of Rory taking Rafi's knife classes. I still have it. It's Rory taking Rafi's knife classes, and then again a thread. It's not a blog, a thread, whatever the hell it was.
Posting board.
Of a thing, yeah. It was one of those. Exactly. And saying how Roy was saying how much he liked Sensei Rafi stuff, because again, Sensei Rafi would show you like a Filipino way, and then there's more of a actual application way. And I was just like, God, man, I thought I had something on him. You know what I mean? I thought I had something on him. Nope, I didn't. He freaking knew Rory. I was like, God damn it. So he facilitated a meeting, and that's when I first started training with Rory, like, I don't even know now, 12 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, by the time I met Rory, you'd already done the videos with him,
Yeah.
and then you came, if I remember correctly, didn't you come with Tia and Mike to the first seminar? We had here like 11 or
Well,
12
he
years
and I
ago.
went to the first one, I think at the bar in Boston.
Okay.
So the first one he did in Boston was at BTT.
No, actually, I went to that one, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because red shirt,
I got him
that
there,
guy we
yep.
dumped red shirt, but.
I'm like, use this, I'm teaching over at this space, come use that.
Yeah, that's the first one, and then we went to the bar.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was, and that was, but the first one I went to actually was at Weichi Camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's how Rory got over here, through
Yep.
Sensei Matson's Weichi Camp. I don't know how. I think he told me the story, but my brain don't work so good. But yeah, when Rory facilitated, Sensei Rafi still facilitated our meeting through emails. I think Rory was still in Iraq at the time.
Okay.
And then when he came
Contract.
back, he went to Cape Cod to do the Weichi Camp, and that's the first time I saw his interpretation of Maslow's hierarchy, doing the whole thing, and I'm just like furiously writing notes. Didn't have a cell phone camera then, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was the beginning for me. I think Norm and I went. I took Norm with me. I was like, you gotta come with me to this thing. And Norm and I went to Cape Cod. We just sat in his room with like 5 people, and he went through the whole violence dynamics thing for one of the first times he ever did it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that was it for me. I was like, this is what I've been looking for.
This is the missing.
Yeah.
I think we all had that
situational
experience
awareness
on
and
a
the
level.
fight for your life, and then
The
there's
information.
Yes.
Well, actually, I think through the email, and I always remember this. Maybe it was a conversation again. Brain don't work so good, but I remember reading. Like he asked me in typical Roy fashion. He's like, "So you train a lot?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "So you do a lot of hours of martial arts?" And he didn't say it like that, but you know. Anyway, I'm like, "Yeah, I train a lot." And he goes, "So you're learning how to defend yourself or whatever?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "How many hours do you put into learning what they do?" And I went, Shit.
Yeah.
Shit. I was like, "All right, let's go." I was like, that's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah.
And he hits
And
that
then
in
you see-
meditations too, and I remember that
Yeah.
being like a moment in time.
Yeah. And I was like, shit, that's exactly what, and what's great about that was I had been compiling violent videos, watching horrible violence on the internet, which was great because I didn't grow up in like Compton in the 80s or any kind of horrible violence. I had my shitty childhood and some stuff like that, but you don't see horrible stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So of course, I'm on my little iMac in 2004 or whatever, just watching horrible videos on, I think it was like steakandcheese.com and all these weird sites. And the URLs didn't
Live Leak or whatever.
Live Leak was way later. I mean, I was early on. It was like steakandcheese.com.
World Star? Is that World Star?
World Star was way later too. I mean, this is 2004 or something like that, 3.
okay.
So it was really early.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, this is great. I mean, what's the dude with the Viper? John Correa. What
Yeah.
he's doing now is
Yep.
kind of what I was like, I want to do this, and he actually ended up doing it. So I was always like, that's cool. But I was just gathering information. You know what I mean? And that's when Rory came along. It was kind of the same mindset. I'm like, this is some stuff just ain't gonna work.
This was the
I mean,
missing
this
stuff.
is this is
this was
horrible
the
violence.
missing. Yeah.
Real violence and the stories we hear are not the same thing. And so that sent me out looking for what ended up being the Black Book of Violence, because I would just go to bookstores all over the place, just drive all around looking for stuff. And I was like, this is what I was looking for. And then it led me to more of that. And that's how that started.
And you met Rory through Rafi as
I
well?
read
or-
Maury through Budo Seek.
Oh, yeah,
And
okay.
when we first were talking,
You were definitely arguing with him up
we,
there.
we didn't like
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah,
And then he
But that's how that happened back then.
Yeah.
That's how everybody became friends. Clint
Yeah.
Overland or whatever they do.
Then he'd write
Texas,
something that was really good, and I'm like, well, that's really good.
I don't wanna
Which
agree with
wasn't
this.
him who wrote it, though. Like that, right? And then he's like, hey, I'm going to be in Boston, so, can we meet
Figure
up? I'm like,
something
yeah,
out.
sure. He stayed at my place. I had the school right across the street, fold out couches and everything. And we just kind of brought up, like, he's like, when I first met you, I didn't like you. I'm like, I didn't like you, and you know it, and stuff like that, But it was great, man. Especially, and Meditations on Violence was one of those things where, like, he was one of the first people to like articulate like something like, yeah,
Put
that's
words
right.
to
Like,
missing
put words
elements,
to
yeah.
it, and it's just like, yeah, I knew that was there. I didn't know how to articulate that,
Or what
or how
context to put it
meant,
in,
right, where
yeah.
it fit in,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I mean, there was new stuff I learned too, but there's so much of it's like, yeah. And one thing I like about it is that, I tell people, look, when you come to my Krav class, you want to learn self-defense, we're going to do physical skills. We might do some role playing with the situation, stuff like that, but go read these books.
Yeah.
Go, so Rory's got 3 or 4 books, and Hawk's Fighting Words. I go read those. Like at least Meditations on Violence and Fighting Words are like mandatory, because I don't want to cover those in class. Because somebody's already done it in a book way better than me.
Yep.
So go do that homework. You got any questions, come back. Because class time is for us to use bodies,
Yep.
So it just,
Mat time.
yeah.
I do combination. I end up doing both. I don't know. Every time I start a class, it ends up being something different.
I always tell people that the soft skill, and I hate using the word soft skills, but oftentimes it's what it's called to, right? The hard skills and the hard skills. The soft skills are never the sexy sell.
No.
If I tell people we're doing verbal de-escalation, I get half attendance.
Yeah.
Because it's
tell
uncomfortable. Well, no, I actually, I learned, no, I
Let them
figured that
show up and
out.
find out the hard way.
Yeah, no, I figured that out. It's not a sexy sell.
No.
It's way more fun to choke people and
Yeah,
throw them.
yeah,
And,
yeah. Even basic physical skills. The sexy stuff is not the important stuff.
Right, well, yes,
Yeah.
right? Everyone's worried about the finisher, right? And how do you get there? What's the stuff in between? So when we do I now sneak it in.
Yeah.
It's funny that I'm also a fire instructor, and in the gun community, they are actually sometimes more interested and willing to put time into some of that stuff because they don't have anything in between.
Yeah.
They're just end of the road solution.
Yeah.
These, the jiu-jitsu guys are like,
Yeah.
well, I have all these panoply of skills in between. And I'm like, yeah, but there's also stuff before that. And that's the missing
Yeah.
stopgap element. And a lot of it, higher level order of when to avoid. Who teaches that?
It's not uncommon for me to, in the middle of class, say, okay, I'm going to show you, I'm doing this, I'm going to say, and this will probably not work.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm showing you the art, I'm showing you the skill, and me having trained all these years doing the thing I'm showing you when my understanding changed, the physical aspects were there for me to be able to do the stuff that I need to do.
Yep.
So you're learning the art to preserve the art, and I'm teaching you to preserve it and to understand it going forward. I said, but this is what probably a more realistic context or more real application. There's like compound trapping. You know what I mean? Like I joke every time. I said, if you go from a high outside reference, pop cell, lop cell, watch out. I said, if you pull that off, you better be wearing my shirt. And somebody better be freaking filming that shit. I said, because that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. You know what I mean? But this may happen.
Until it happens.
All those points of reference, you can jump off.
Yeah.
I said, but yeah, if you ever pull off a compound trapping track and kick somebody's ass, you better be wearing my shirt and filming it. Because that's amazing.
We run monthly topics as a general rule. So if we're doing I separate ground fighting and grappling as 2 different skills.
Yeah.
And we're doing more of a sporty type grappling month. Like we have that conversation, guys.
Yep.
This is sport. We're going to stay entangled where we
Right.
should be getting up. And at some point, one Saturday of the month, we go out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "We still doing grappling?" Yes, we are. To remind you,
The painful way.
this is not where you want to be, and you're probably going to pick up some gravel along the way.
Yeah. Throw down some broken glass.
Well, easy Van Dam.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of back to the original topic question. We've got a lot of context as to how we got here. what's the keep it going? It's not easy. We had breakfast a little while ago. We were saying like we all love to train, and I think we all love to help other people get through.
Yeah, that part.
We all hate the paperwork, and we all hate the stress, and we all hate the marketing, and we all
see
hate
for Ralphie's fault that I'm in this friggin' mess. I can just show up and take class and just relax and go home.
Yep.
No.
I joke that I work from 9 to 3 when I'm in my office, and then 3 o'clock comes and it's jiu-jitsu time.
Disciplines.
Well, I run around, run errands, whatever, take naps. And then 3 o'clock comes and I go on vacation. Because now I teach jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part of my day. I do all that work to get to that moment in time. And it doesn't matter what the age group is. There's for different reasons I enjoy different age groups, right? The final joke is at the very end of some days I get to teach adult advanced jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, this is just the best moment of my life.
Yeah.
And for me, the reason I started versus what I do now, and I love to train. We all like to go, you were talking about finding some place to go train. You wait for your friends to come in and play stuff with them. Same thing. I think we all love going to seminars and absorbing new information. That aha moment, whether it's a brand new white belt and it's all aha moments, or you get like a seasoned brown belt, black belt, and they're like, I've never seen this before. I've been here for 12 years. How the hell have I never seen this before?
For me, like, again, like Jeff was saying, martial arts literally saved my life because I was out of control. And see for Rafi, again, a great figure, mentor. Again, my father died when I was young, so it's weird to I don't know, the psychological aspects of that. But it went from literally saving my life and being about me to now shifting to being about other people.
Yep.
And it's a wonderfully horrible, abusive relationship where you just eat shit for so long, and it's just like, the business. I hate the business side of it, and you just like and then you get that morsel of somebody helping, or you're finding out whatever, and those are the flowers after the beating. You know what I mean? Like,
what a fucked up analogy.
I'm just saying, but I'm keeping it in that.
Domestic violence.
What a fucked up analogy.
Here's a candy and flour. Sorry about the black eye.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why you do that. Make me do this, but it's when you get
Next time I sit down and do paperwork, I'm gonna curse you.
So when you get that, when you see that kid like connect, or something happen, or you see him not quit, and you see him turn that corner, or even like I talk when I have women come in for the fitness side of my place, and I talk to them, and I have a group of, like, I call them soccer mom assassins now, that went from like a kickboxing class, and they barely even do the kickboxing class anymore. Now they're all like a group of blue belts, just smoking guys bigger than them and just doing fun. And they come in with they do the whole martial arts walk over with their shitty bag and their shit hanging out of it, their belt hanging out, you know what I mean? And they go over and they change into their gis and they start rolling, or they do Muay Thai, and that makes me so freaking happy.
Yeah.
Those are little things
the conversions,
and again, teaching class is wonderful. Being on the floor is wonderful. My favorite part is before and after classes, when everybody's just hanging around bullshit, and the community, and that's when I take pause a lot of times, and that's, again, joking around. That's the flowers. It's not funny, but that's how I always thought of it. Like, and it was that way for me in the veterinary world too, because I worked in a great place, but an emergency veterinary, so horrible stuff every day, but every now and then you got a case. That was nice, and it kept you in the damn circle of abuse.
That's what we pin this for later. Like, what are some of the social things that you do? Like, I know you do the Wings Challenge and things like that, that help you kind of feed your own soul, but also kind of feed the soul of the place. We'll go to Jeff first, we'll come back to that, because I have something I want to talk about too.
So with the kick program, like I said, I was kind of paying it forward for one of my teachers who just let me work it off. And at the time, I was teaching in Roxbury and Chelsea, and if you know Boston, they're the two worst neighborhoods.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so there's this, so a lot of my kids are just skating in for free. And because how am I going to say no to them when somebody didn't say no to me?
That's a problem.
Yeah, but the thing was, I didn't have a brick and mortar place. I'm teaching at a couple of gyms, so I'm just letting them in. But then we go to this tournament one time, and this a woman was in the adult class. She's like, "You just paid for all these kids?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Why?" I go, "They don't have any money. They live in the projects."
No.
And she goes, "You need to be a nonprofit." I'm like, "I'm as nonprofit as it gets." I go, "Every dime I get from people who pay for classes and stuff like that, I literally put it aside because I don't want to dip into money that I'm working for to pay for tournaments and stuff like that." She's like, "No, there's a nonprofit. It's a thing. You need to look into it and stuff like that." And we got a lawyer to do it, and we paid her, and then she handed it back to us, and she wasn't going to give us our money back. She goes, "Well, I already put some money into it." And then luckily for us, where I was teaching, one of the kids in there, his mom's a lawyer. And the dad goes, oh, I'm going to talk to my wife about it. She'll handle it. And I'm like, why, who's that? And it's like, they run a big law firm in Boston.
Yeah.
Next day, that lady showed up at the school with a check, like, here's your money back. And then she said, yeah, we'll help you with the whole nonprofit thing. And so they set that up for us. And, you know, that's just been, you know, that's our soul food. And, you know, a lot of times it's like you said, there's so much grind and so much abuse. And then every now and then you just hear that one person that it helps. And you know, the internet makes the world a small place.
Yeah.
So every now and then I'll get a message, like one of my favorite ones, the year before China Cooties. This kid contacts the coach, the kick page. He's like, hey, is this Sensei Jeff from over here? I'm like, yeah. He goes, do you remember me? His kid's name, Kevin Huang. I go, yeah. I go, how are things going? He goes, yeah, that's why I'm contacting you. He goes, I graduated from med school. And I'm like, so cool. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Because here's a kid, single mom in the projects. And he was really embarrassed. I go out to eat one time, and his mom was the people bussing the table.
Yep.
And he's embarrassed. I'm like, dude, why are you embarrassed? Your mom's new to this country. She doesn't speak the language. She's working hard.
Working her ass off,
people just
yeah.
put their hand out for free stuff. I go, she's grinding away. And so when I asked him in that conversation, I go, how's your mom doing? He goes, dude, she's still working. He goes, I told Mom,
you couldn't stop her if you wanted to.
You couldn't, yeah.
You never have to work again in your life. Just do this. And I'm like, dude, you need to be proud of your mom. Because that's who she is. She's not going to just freeload and stuff like that. But, you know, I'll get messages like that every once in a while. A kid sent me a picture of his Little League team. And he says, I'm the only kid on this team now that's not dead or in jail. I'm like, whoa. Wow. You know, that's a Roxbury kid.
These are flowers.
And I'll get these things every once in a while.
Flowers.
You know? I just had one of my old, one of my students, we called the Jet, I had my Jedi squad, I call them. One of my old Jedis just came to the school yesterday. I haven't seen her in like 15 years. Wants to come back. Now she's all grown up.
Yeah.
Wants to do karate again. Said it was like, you know, the time
Most important thing.
most important time in her life, and that it changed her around. And because she runs her own business, and she goes, I think that's all because of karate, that I just wanted to do that. So I mean, for me, I love the art. I mean, especially like, how much self-defense do you need? You know, it's going to work. And we started doing, like you said, like the trapping and the retrapping, and we're playing with swords and sticks. I mean, there's a whole lot of LARPing going on with that, right?
Tactical LARPing.
You know, like tactical LARPing. Like I love playing with longswords. When am I going to get in a longsword for a longsword fight? You know, and you know, we talk about, you know, all this stuff, and you know, people go off to these crazy tangents, and I'm like, you're not fighting Bruce Lee in the parking lot at Dunkin' Donuts at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, how much martial art do you need for...
I am in my head.
How much martial art do you need for Ricky Road Rage? And stuff like that, you know, as opposed to, you know, because you have other things you want to do in your life. But, we do this. It's studying the art. You're learning. It's great. You get the soul food from it, and it's just... You know, but that's the biggest thing for me, man, is, you know, I love the art, and it's soul food. You know?
Yeah. Community-based stuff that feeds me. One thing in particular... There's a whole bunch of stuff. One thing in particular, tradition that we started a very long time ago with my senseis, adult belt testing for us is the last Wednesday of the night. When the test ends, communally, whoever's available, no stress, no pressure, but whoever's available, we gather. And just this past week, it's been a very busy week. We had adult belt testing, one person tested. Just a small month, right? It happens from time to time. And 19 or 20 people gathered afterwards. And poor business decision, but I didn't do this for, you know, we were talking earlier, I didn't do this to make lawyer money. I buy these big piles of nachos and wings, and everybody gets their own. If you want to get alcohol or whatever beverage, that's not my thing. But and it just, I walked out of that like it's I'm in the middle of like a rough week. Yeah. It's just such a high point. Yeah. Because it's different ranks. Doesn't matter what the rank is. You know, the brand new white belts over there with the most senior black belt, and they're all having fun. Yeah. And it's, you know.
That's your tribe. That's your ritual.
Yeah. That's what happened to me during COVID, because like I pivoted pretty decently. I know we communicated during COVID, and then when, you know, like a 480p webcam went for $400, I was a little behind, but I ended up, you know, having enough stuff. And like I joked for a while there, a lot of places that have been open for decades around me closed. Yeah, and it actually bums me out, because, like, you know, there's one particular guy who's like, I would send, because I don't really have a kids program, I would send all the kids over to him, and he closed. I was like, oh, he had a great school, he's a great instructor. We pivoted pretty decently. I had, you know, I joke, because I had the windows blacked out. Yeah. I put big, huge, almost like heavy-duty garbage bags, actually cadaver bags, but Yeah, dog cadaver bags. I went and got them from the animal hospital friend I know. But
It's fucked up.
because people were ratting on everybody. If they
I
saw
know.
it. Yeah, so I had that shit all blacked out, and I had like all these tripods and everything set up and monitors. It looked like I was joking. It looked like I was shooting porn.
Yeah.
But we,
OnlyFans.
it was hilarious. I was like, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? But it was like a perfect way to me to get out if I wanted to. No, I had to stay in, keep going. And one of the things that happened was, because I'm horrible, I'm a half-asser in general with a lot of things, ADHD, whatever you want. I get all and then I kind of back off. But with the gym, I was getting a lot of messages, as you guys may know, with your own experiences, about when during the lockdowns, people were losing it. Like, I'm trying to stay clean, I'm trying to stay sober, I'm locked in this house with this asshole who's abusive, all these different things. Again, Sifa Rafi always said that these places are more than just punching and kicking. People are coming here for a lot of different reasons. And I still get emotional thinking of some of them. And there's one kid, the Unicorn, that's his nickname at the gym, but he came in at 14. He lied to me about his age, but I let him in anyway. But I realized I was half-assing the gym, and I saw the gym as a separate entity at that point. It was weird, and how important it was to everybody. Because it's important, you say the words, but then when you get these messages and these you talk to people. So when I came back to the gym, I decided, I'm going to treat it differently, like I'm doing now. Yeah, it's just still horrible, but it's great.
Nobody.
It
Every job has work.
Oh yeah.
Right, and that's how I try.
I like to be the number two.
Well, that's the Roy
I like
is
to be the
alive.
number two.
Roy is alive.
You know what I mean?
When Roy and I would
Let
do
me
stuff
be the number
together,
two, yeah.
he goes, the problem is we both want to be the XO and neither of us want to be the CO.
Yeah.
And he literally would be like, I'm the guest, you got to go be the CO. I'm like, fuck you, Rory.
Exactly. It's like, I'll come up with great ideas and whatever. I don't want to be, but I did when it came back after COVID. I really kind of changed my attitude towards it.
Yeah, I tell people with incredible hubris, we do something important.
Mm-hmm. But it's such a subculture. Most people don't realize that until they get in it. Like with a lot of subcultures, you don't know the ins and outs of it.
Right.
Which is why I'm fascinated whenever I find out that somebody does something that I don't know about.
Right.
And I start asking them questions like a weirdo. But people don't realize it until they get in. Just like the Soccer Mom Assassins. They came in because they wanted to do fitness and.
Dude, that's a team name. That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Jeff's the t-shirt guy.
Soccer Mom Assassin.
I keep telling him he's got to start putting the t-shirts on Amazon. They got to be more widely available. There's such great designs. He's wearing one now, the Harm Farm. Yeah, 100% organic violence. I love that shirt.
But yeah, so that's the thing, and it's way more than punching and kicking, and that's the treat that keeps you going.
There's a good book called Tribe. I think
Yes.
it's Sebastian.
Yes.
I tell all martial art instructors, read that. Because, and especially nowadays, people need that. And you see the different, people say tribalism, and they say it's a bad thing. It's like, well, it can be, but we're social animals, and we need that.
Yep.
And you see how people need that, and you see how bad tribes are targeting people. Like, hey, you can be part of something with us, and and everybody's labeling somebody a bad guy and stuff like that. But but like when you think of a tribe, what makes a culture, we have that.
Yep.
And it's just
in the numbers that he talks about in that book too. It's kind of weird.
in many ways, over certain numbers, the
Yeah.
tribe kind of falls apart.
And I don't know, but have you ever thrown anybody out in the last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I throw people out a lot.
Listen, at some point, and it has to be your own discretion, so I'm not going to justify anything that I decided to do because it's a situational moment in time. If you're detracting from others, okay, a little kid example, right?
Yeah.
Well, once in a while, I'll have a parent ask me like, well, he's not paying attention, he's looking out the window. I'm like, yeah, but most of the time he's listening, and I'm okay with that. My big thing is, I don't care if you're looking out the window, as long as you're not interrupting anybody else.
Right.
The moment you become a distraction to somebody else, right, we're going to have a conversation because you're not allowed to ruin their lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also found like it's amazing how many kids they're looking out the window, but they're absorbing.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually shocks me. That was a hard lesson. I've had some instances where you are detracting from others' lessons at a level that is no longer acceptable. And you kind of have to be like, listen, I want to. In most cases, I offer private lessons. They can pick it up or not pick it up. That's up to them. But like you're taking away from the whole, and that's my line.
Yeah.
That's I joke all the time. Like there's only two things that'll ever see me get like really mad is if you're being. This is a dangerous activity. If you're being willfully uncontrolled, I'm trying to say this as carefully as I can.
Yeah.
If you're being willfully an asshole with other people's bodies at any age, I'm going to come down on you like Thor's hammer. The other one is if you're like being distracting to other people.
Yeah.
It's in my mind, it's being disrespectful. So I don't even care if you're disrespectful to me because I bandy with all the kids and all the ages. I have like little Katos that like this little group of girls. They have freedom to attack me at any point in time.
Yeah.
And I have to like watch my back. It's kind of fun. And the parents are like, why do you let them do that? I'm like, because I want them. If any guy ever makes a bad choice with them someday, I want them to be comfortable with punching the biggest, scariest person around. They have no problem with that. So I'm okay with it.
Yep.
To your question, yes, I'm sure you've had to. I've heard you tell me about people you've had to remove.
Best thing I ever did for some people.
In many cases,
and
yeah.
there's that 80-20 rule too, that like 80% of your people who are complaining are 80% of your complaining is 20% of the people.
Yes.
And I told one lady, I go, I get it. You're in the mindset of the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I replace squeaky wheels. You just leave. But one lady I kicked out because she's always to the child and to me. We're like, I'm teaching class, and she comes up behind me, she goes, he's not doing it right. Well, they're 6 years old, none of them are doing it right. They're doing the best they can. She goes, well, what am I paying for? Class, and he's
Really an
getting
underground
class.
fighter is what you thought.
But then one day I was like,
6 years old.
something? You're obviously not happy with it,
Yeah.
because she's just distracting all the time.
Yep.
And I see the other parents just rolling their eyes.
And it spreads
I'm like,
like
look,
cancer,
this
too.
isn't working out, blah, blah, blah. I think, I'm gonna take you out of the system. And she's yelling and screaming and swearing and all stuff like that. So she leaves, and I told the parents, I go, look, I'm sorry, I should have done that after class. One of the moms goes, don't apologize for her, she ruins everything. I go, what do you mean? She ruins everything. She ruins t-ball, she ruins soccer. She goes, she's like this wherever she goes. And I go, so you're telling me other people don't like her? She goes, I'm telling you, nobody likes her, right? And I got the whole
body.
big head going. And I go, well, do me a favor. I'm a small business, and we just opened at that location. I said, and I just lost a paying customer. So tell all your friends that they can bring their child here and be free
She
of
won't be
her
here.
because she can't come here. It was the best thing I ever done for my business. I had people call me and go, yeah, my kid's not interested in karate, but I just wanted to say, I heard that story and it was awesome. And I'm like, well, make sure you tell her off in your child's activity too, because pretty soon she'll either learn to behave or she'll just,
One or the other.
Yeah,
Ostracized,
one of
yeah.
the others, right.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, we've had the helicopter parents. The mom is like on the edge, and the kid looks over. I've had to grab a couple moms by the elbow, like, come with me, take them around the corner here, and be like, here's the good news. You can now see him, and he really can't see you or her or whatever. But the problem is right now, you're distracting the kid from they're looking for your approval, and they're not looking at the coach.
Yeah,
And you're
find out
paying
if
them
everything's okay.
to look at the coach. Let the coach do their job. Come over here. I promise it'll be okay. They need separation, and that's sometimes it's like helping the mom kind of cut the cord a little bit.
Yeah.
Like let them figure it out. And I'm not trying to parent parents, but in some ways it's almost like let the training develop. Let the training do its job.
Yeah.
You're circumventing that process.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of teaching them you're not parenting the parent, you're teaching them how to
Separate.
coach be a coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How to help their kid be coachable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, what is this, 100 years of training sitting here, right? We all probably look forward to classes tomorrow. It's a Sunday. We're looking forward. I'm looking forward to my classes. It's a new month, so a new topic for us. And I get really excited about the idea that I get to maybe, whether it's, I said, brand new student, we got a brand new adult starting up, brand new kid starting up tomorrow, and senior veterans who've been there for 10, 12, 15 years. This will be a new topic. We just did one this month where it's like we've never taught this topic in this way before after almost 16 years of being open. And that's just kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
How do I
Yeah.
my program director, we joke about like she gets bored quickly. So we have to keep changing the topic, which makes it good for the students.
Yeah.
We still have always the basics built in.
It's addressing you, but it helps them.
Correct.
It works out for them too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my whole friggin' place. I just put programs in there that I liked, and thank God other people like them.
Yeah.
I think the workouts I do are the ones I like to do, and the martial arts are the ones that I like.
Well, that's one of the online things, right? Be you, and other people will come that are like that, and they want that.
you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing because like you just said, I can't wait for like Monday's coming.
Yeah.
Because I know how many people.
How many people?
Right. Oh, thank God it's Friday, and then Monday sucks. If you live your life like that,
Yeah.
like Wednesday's hump day, thank God it's Friday, Monday, you need to change your life because you get
Miserable.
one of them, and yeah,
Well, that's
you're
why
just
I'm
miserable.
lucky in that way.
Yeah.
Right.
I,
so,
I
like,
bitch
yeah.
about everything, but I mean, I do the gym stuff, and then I work with dogs. I go hiking
Yep.
in the woods with dogs off leash. I take 6 dogs. I can walk around, and people pay me money for it.
Yeah.
And I technically shouldn't even be doing that anymore because I could make better money doing other things, but I'm not gonna.
But it makes you happy.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's my moment to relax. I actually come up with a lot of great ideas while I'm walking around and yelling at dogs.
You might like the Comfort Crisis is a book that just dropped, and the guy was talking about how we seek comfort in all things and we avoid discomfort. And one of the things he actually specifically talks about, if you start rolling out on that, right?
Yeah.
One of the things he talks about is we all grew up. You know, internet kids. You said earlier. We all grew up. Boredom is straight up a form of discomfort. However. And there's some science and data that shows that that's actually when we find a lot of our creative juices start flowing.
Your brain has to entertain
And we don't have that because we all have the
Yeah.
instant entertainment and release at all
Dopamine,
times. Yeah, dopamine on drip, right? Anytime you want it. And so being out in the woods, we have a trail here that goes 3.5 miles, and I frequently will walk and listen to podcasts, but sometimes I just let it go. And I let the brain roll. So the shower's idea are the best ideas because you know their entertainment form in the shower. Although I saw a shower tablet thing the other day. They were selling one. No, Amazon was selling like a shower tablet. You can put it on the wall in the shower. I'm like,
God, I got a ton of thinking done while walking around the woods. Hour and a half or so, depending on what kind of dogs I have. I come up with a whole bunch of shit. That's how I came up with the name.
Yep.
I didn't have a name for my gym, and I was opening in like a month.
Yeah, when you first opened it gave it that name, I'm like, whatever. And the longer it's been, I'm like, yep, what a great name.
Just Train. Yeah.
Oh, it actually came again from C for Raffy because I think my LLC is like Ocean State Martial Arts and Fitness. I was trying not to have it be Osama. There's Ocean State Academy of Martial Arts or something like that. And I was like, oh shit. This is 10 years ago, you know what I mean? That everybody was afraid of terrorists back then. I was walking in the woods and it came from Sifu Rafi, one of the things, because we had an incident with a martial artist who was always a pain in the ass. And I don't know if this was true or not, but supposedly are these stickers were put all along Sifu Rafi's windows at that second floor location. It was all in front of it was all windows of another Jeet Kune Do place.
Yep.
And I immediately was like, let's go get him! And he's like, no. I'm like, why? You know what I mean? I'm like pulling the stickers out, scraping them off, and getting all pissed off. And I'm like, we finally have a green light, the green light thing. And he's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no? And he's like, no, they're not going to be here in 6 months.
It's not worth it.
I'm like, what? He's like, they're not going to be here. And he's like, we're just going to do what we do. We're just going to keep training. We're just going to do what we do. And what we do shows over the long haul because we're going to be here. They're not going to be here. Blah, blah. And literally, I'm walking in the woods, and I hear, just train, you idiot. Because he used to call me an idiot a lot. He calls me all kinds of shit. Yeah. But, and I always have a pen on me, so I literally wrote just train on my hand, because again, my brain not works so good, I would have forgotten it.
Yep.
So I wrote just train, and that ended up being my DBA. And
you think about how that verbal abuse that we...
Oh, that's wonderful.
We look back at like endearing memories.
Yes, we all have those.
It's so hard to do that nowadays.
I mean, I do
it carefully with the senior, you know what I mean? You cross a certain threshold, you're going to get some of it, and we set it up as a preface, like, here's the good news, guys. If I tease you, I really like you.
Yeah.
And they get that. We have one of the moms gave us a sign up there that says, a good friend will help you up after you fall down. A best friend will push you back down and laugh. One of the moms gave it to us. It sits right up front. And it helps inform how the tribe interacts, right? To a certain extent, screen for the people that make sense and don't make sense.
Yeah, I joke about that. I have certain filters in my gym. Cats, dogs, American flags, certain other things that just... It's not going to work out for you.
I mean, you guys have met when my dogs are here, right? We have people like, you have a dog. You can never have a dog in a martial arts school. I'm like, why not?
I have like 2 cats and a couple of dogs usually at a time. Yeah, but even on my, I will literally find myself repeating stuff that Sifu Rafi says to me. Like one of my favorites is, "You're making my eyes bleed." And I was like, they're like, "Oh, can we?" I'm like, no, I don't feel like watching that. I can't watch that. Even in the fitness class, I'm like, I wrote something on the board. I was like, no, I can't watch that today. I can't watch you guys try to do that move or that exercise or that movement or whatever. Like, nah, I can't today. You're gonna make my eyes bleed. I'm like, God damn it.
I paraphrase one of my sensei. It's I'm like, all right, we're gonna have a conversation. Do you want me to be honest or do you want me to be nice?
Yeah.
Which one do you want? Which my sensei hit me with, not when I was new. It was a very senior rank.
Yeah.
And I tell the kids, and they always kind of look at me and they're like, honest? I'm like, all right, I'll be nicely honest.
Yeah. Yeah. But that abuse is, I don't know. I don't think
it's abuse.
No. I don't even think it's that. I don't know if I would be the same without it. Not that made me like want to do more for him or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's a sign of endearment. It's a sign of
it's like, respect actually. I respect you enough to know that you can take this.
Yeah, exactly.
With the jiu-jitsu stuff.
He really must have realized I could have taken it.
Boy, he really, thinking back, he really liked
He really likes me. He likes me. Yeah,
I have spoken to Rafi when you were not here, and he really likes you.
Yeah.
So yes,
Don't tell him that. You just ruined everything.
Sorry, probably Rafi.
I came across one of our old photos together. I don't know what rank. I have some kind of rank, and I purposely held it upside down.
Yes, that was here.
Was it here?
He handed
Oh
us
yeah,
right here. You held it upside down.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no smiling in the pictures, but I held it upside down on purpose just to screw with it.
Gee, I don't know why you busted balls. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wonderful relationship. But yeah, I mean that is a good point though. I mean the abuse is, and I have never had anybody get upset.
You know, we do. I didn't tell you this. I told Jeff when we first got here. A couple months ago, I ran into this fact and figure where, and you know, just talking to a specific population, men ages 40 to 60 have the second highest suicide rate in the United States. Second only to men age 65 plus, and there's a little bit of a differential in that age group because you get end of life's terminal things where they decide to punch their own ticket.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that it's not important, it's just a little bit different. 40 to 60 healthy.
Depression, end of life.
Well, and basically what it has is like these severe feelings of isolation in a group that has spouse and kids and job, but to your spouse, you're the spouse, and they don't necessarily understand what you're going through, and you can't really express it to them. Maybe you don't feel like you can express it to them. I know women, you're saying that we can, but sometimes we feel like we can't. You're dad to the kids, and that's all you can ever be. You're not there to vent to the kids. You're not there to vent at work. You're there to get the shit done. So I started a Sunday night gathering, and the brief is very simple. It's a big group of guys, and if you're available, you're available. If you're not available, you never have to apologize. And we vacillate between deep water conversation and dick jokes. And it helps. Every single guy who shows up is like, I go into Monday feeling better because of that. Just that moment in time, you know, there's always some abuse because it's shared respect, right? Again, I don't like the word abuse, but you know.
Well, it is in a way.
It is, but it's welcome.
It depends on how the end result.
Right.
If you
right.
are offended or hurt or whatever. But abuse can be constructive.
Every good martial artist I know likes to get thrown around.
Yeah.
Like we all like to play the bad guy and get tossed around, you know, until things don't work anymore. As I'm thinking about Jeff's hips and my shoulders and hands and, you know, all the various injuries we were talking about at breakfast. And I think in some regards, like, I feel better when my friends bust my chops because that means I know that they love me.
Yeah, we're my inner circle.
Yep.
You know, Tony, Ryan, Norm, Jerry. We're horrible to each other.
Oh, I had a mom once. Her kid was 12 or 13, and he was a really nice kid. Definitely kind of the awkward, nerdy one of the group, but he was clearly part of the group. And the mom said, "Hey, can I talk to you real quick?" "Sure." My son told me that the boys will all make fun of each other in the locker room. I said, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, he was a little doughy. I was like, "Were they picking on him?" And she goes, "Huh?" She goes,
"Picking on him or busting
No." She goes, I was like, "Were they like kind of piling on him?" And she goes, "Oh no." He said that they were just all making fun of each other. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she goes, "Well, I thought you might want to put a stop to it." And I was like, "Absolutely not." She goes, "What do you mean?"
That's bonding.
I was like, I'm like, I know 2020, whatever this was, 2019 or 2018, whatever this was. I'm like, I know you've never been in a male's locker room. If I showed you the text thread between myself and the other black belts who now live around the country, like the guys I all came up with, you'd call the FBI for a hate crime.
Yeah.
Because and that's us showing each other that we love and respect, and you know what I mean. That's how males do it.
Right.
Don't give me the toxic crap. I don't care. It's how we interact. It's old tribal culture, and it's part of the reason I still train because. You said earlier you go to Rafi's and immediately people are like ripping
busted my balls first day. I'm like, I already like these people.
Yeah, the first time I went to Minnesota. Rory invited me to go to Minnesota to go to my first Biodie, and I think I was in the room for about 7 to 9 minutes, and Casey Kekaizen made fun of me, and I was like, "Oh, my people."
Yeah.
He goes, he's like, "You're a jiu-jitsu guy. You can take it." I was like, "Excellent. I'm home."
I had a guy who hadn't been in the gym maybe 3 or 4 months. And I get a text from his wife, "Hey, this is, so-and-so." He goes, "Could you get him back in the fucking gym?"
Yes,
like that.
we get that. He's from the wife?
She texted me.
Yeah.
So then I text him, I go, "Dude, I can hear you getting fatter." And like next day, he's in the gym.
Yeah.
My friends, when I got my teeth knocked out, I was like,
Which time?
I was so
The need of the
self-conscious. I'm like, I'm not doing anything like that. Like 2 days later, I see this one friend I hadn't seen him since, God, it's only a couple days later. He goes, "Dude, let me see it. Just let me see it." I don't know. I show it to him. immediately bursts out laughing. I'm going to call you the Jeff-O-Lantern now. And I'm like, dude, this one's kind of like...
Can't get mad at it. That's
pretty
pretty
good. Can't get mad at it.
When it hurts, but it's good.
And I see him on the street one day in the North End. As soon as we see each other, we start saying the most horrible things. People are like, oh, there's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like... and the guy who's with him is laughing, and I don't know who he's with, right? And he goes, I can tell how good of friends you guys are by how horribly you speak
How you
to each
banter,
other.
yeah.
I go, yeah, that's just a thing growing up, man. And here's the deal, like some stranger verbally abuses you, they don't know about you.
Right.
This guy's digging personal stuff,
Yeah.
stuff he knows is gonna hurt. It's like, hey, remember that time that was really horrible?
Yep.
And we just bring that up again. And stuff like that, you know, it's just, but yeah, you end up laughing those things off and it toughens you up. And like I said, if your friends can say that to you, if somebody else says something to you, you're like, yeah, that's nothing. My friends say way worse than that to me.
I've always said one of my sensei's like penultimate teaching skills, not jiu-jitsu skills, like he's a fantastic teacher of anything. And one of the penultimate skills is he can correct something, make fun of you, and make you laugh in 3 sentences. And I'm like, that is such a high level skill. Clearly it's people he knows really well. But that's one of them, like, I gotta work on emulating that. Because, I'm pretty good with it with my more senior students now after 15 years of running this place.
That sounds like what I do to my people.
Well, right? Isn't it? Like, it really, and I think
All
it's
right,
one
fine,
of
let's
those,
figure
like,
this out. You know what I mean?
I think it's one of those high level tribal markers.
Made me think of a specific instance yesterday. Yeah.
Similar, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm lucky across because I do some fitness stuff, martial arts stuff, some of the gun stuff, and it kind of crosses all those boundaries in many regards. I mean, the first time I went to go train with Rob Pincus, he's a little bit more severe in his delivery, but he totally does exactly that. And I think anytime...
You know where you stand anyway.
Well, you know where you stand, and I think in a case where the perceived penalty for fucking up is higher, like on these mats, the perceived penalty for fucking up is higher, which means some of the honesty has to be more raw. It just has to be. I know in a lot of cultures today in our modern society, it's, well, there's no reason, you could just be nice. There's no reason for the honesty to be part of it. And I was like, here it matters. It matters here. On the range, like if you screw up there, the penalty's too high. So I'm gonna have to be, the consequence is extreme. So, yeah. I think we've been battling for like 50 minutes.
That's it.
Something like that.
I mean, that's it. It's like 2 seconds went by. I mean, overall, as much as
Technically, we've been
bitch-
babbling for 2.5 hours. So for breakfast, but
I mean, overall, as much as I bitch, I don't know what else I would do.
COVID made me think like, okay, if this place shutters because it was bad for all of us.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can do, but I don't know what I want.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that I joke that I'm unemployable now, right?
Yeah,
Any small
no way.
business owner, that's the old joke, is you make yourself unemployable because I can't imagine. Not that I don't like taking orders from other people. I don't. But either way,
I show up at the same time when I'm supposed to.
I don't. And I'm a routine person, so I treat that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I don't like that though. I don't like. That
It's
kind of
more the like, this is what makes me go. This is what I was trying to explain. I love my father. Sorry, Dad. Yesterday morning, I had a long conversation with him. He goes, well, what if my landlord, whatever the place closes?
Yeah, you're under that.
And I literally was like, I don't know. He's like, well, you're at a certain age, you should sort of have plan B and C and D. And I'm like,
Not that far along, jeez.
no. It's just like in case something goes wrong,
Yeah.
right? And there's not a lot of available real estate in the area, that kind of stuff. Like, I was like, I don't know. I don't
But
possibly
you can't
have a...
plan. So let's say there's a space open now. Or
Yeah.
something happened, that
Fine.
space isn't open next
Right.
time. I mean, you'd find something.
Maybe in my garage or something like that.
Yeah, until you find something else.
Right.
Right, you take your highest end people, do it in the garage or somewhere else, a meeting parks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The work part, I'm pretty lucky. People ask me questions and they'll say, I'll point to my wife. She's the school, she's the business.
I just work here.
I'm just a man in the pajamas who yells at your kid, and and I like to keep it that way. But I am trying to just do more, just to take stuff off of her plate,
Sure.
so that she can enjoy, the classes more. But
Yeah, it's not easy.
it's not.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we'll wrap up there.
Cool.
So once again, where do people find you?
JustTrainRI@gmail.com. JustTrainRI.com is the website. North Kingstown, Rhode Island.
Instagram, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, Instagram, JustTrainRI also. Don't do Twitter. I'm not doing Snapchat. Definitely not doing TikTok. I hate it all. Again, I should be on all social media. I hate it.
Yeah, that's with this whole video project. People are like, "Are you gonna do TikTok?" I was like, "I can't. I just can't bring myself to do it."
Not even because of the whole China thing. I just don't want another thing to do.
Yeah.
But pretty easy to find.
And Jeff?
Coach Jeff Berger, spells like a hamburger. So there you go. And I'm, just look that up. My Facebook page will come up. The website will come up. I mean, I'm on Instagram technically, but not.
And you're getting pulled by some of our friends who do more external teaching, some more seminar stuff.
Yeah, and again, that all goes back to Rafi.
Yep.
Because through Rafi, I met Hawk.
Yep.
And then from Hawk, I've done, I'm doing Nashville, Kansas City, Colorado, Indiana, Delaware. Delaware's asked me back on my own. Indiana's asked back. Some of these places asked me back to come on my own. I met Mark Cardona through him, and that was SMAF. And then through SMAF, I met Thomas Akuri, who runs Super Summer Seminar now.
Yep.
And it was really cool for me in my first time teaching on that, even though I was messed up. That was right after my cancer.
Yeah.
And
that was the Carlos Wharton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not supposed to drive more than 5 minutes, but I drew 5 hours to go teach. But you could tell I was right.
Martial artists have not good patience.
I'm doing clinch and stuff like
Yep.
that, and I just had tubes taken out of me and stuff like that. But anyway, like my first martial arts seminar was Super Summers. And I was like, whoa, whoa. Because, class for us is a lot of repetition. You didn't learn something too often. Just get good at this stuff. Just get good at this stuff. And then to go there and just see people just dropping gold nuggets all over the place, And so for me, like my first time to be asked to teach on that, I was like, really? Like what? Because that was the big deal thing to go to back in the 80s.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool. All right, well, thank you, gents.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate you guys
Until next
for
time.
coming up, having snacks, talking business, and doing this with me. So.
Yep. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the last hour in one sentence.
If you don't watch the whole thing, watch just it's not easy, but it's worth it.
I think you just fixed my opening. I think that's going to put the opening part.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching.
All right, thanks, guys.